Hey everybody out there, welcome back to 91.8 The Fan. I am your host, the lovely DJ Christmas, and I have with me a very special guest. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah, this is Sean Michael Teague,
Awesome.
voice actor.
Sean Teague. And, you don't have too many roles under your belt, but you do have one big one.
Would you be referring to Katshiro from Samurai 7?
Yes, Katshiro and, of course, Koenma, which is the one that a lot of mainstream viewers have seen.
Yeah.
And how exactly
was,
Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just saying Koenma was fantastic. It was a great character to debut with.
And how exactly did you get into the role of Koenma?
Well, I've always followed my philosophy of self-promotion, and any role I've ever received, be it, on film or, doing a play, whatever, I've always just reached out and promoted myself, and I just looked around and, once I moved to Dallas, I was looking to break into the acting scene here and tried out for a few plays, and I didn't get anything, and I started working at a movie studio called the Studios at Los Colinas in Irving, Texas, and I was working the marketing department, and one day someone called, and he asked to book a tour, and I said, okay, when can you come? He goes, well, I can't come on Mondays or Tuesdays because I do my voice acting then. And I was like, oh, where are you doing voice acting? He said, Funimation in Fort Worth. And I didn't know anything about this. And I said, well, man, I've been wanting to break into voice acting for a long time, and I will give you a discount on your tour if you'll give me a phone number. And his name was Kent Williams, who you might also remember from Yu Yu Hakusho. And he agreed. He got his discount, and I got the number, and I called up Funimation immediately and introduced myself, and happened to be calling on the last day of auditions for Yu Yu Hakusho. And they said, well, can you come in? And I hesitated as if I'm thinking, looking through my schedule, and of course I'm just absolutely going nuts inside, like, yes, of course, but never want to seem too anxious. So I said, yeah, I think I can make it. And went up there, auditioned for Justin Cook, and didn't think much of it. It was after all my first audition. I had never gone through the process of auditioning for a voice role, and so I just really appreciated the opportunity. I about fainted when I found out about a couple of weeks later that I had indeed gotten the role. I received a voicemail on my machine, and like I said, I almost fainted for the first time.
And with a long-running series like Yu Yu Hakusho, you really get involved, especially as a part of the main cast, with the rest of the other voice actors and directors on there. Would you say that's true?
Yeah. It's everyone is very very uplifting. Everyone really encourages each other, and it feels very much like a family experience. I like I said, I couldn't have been in better hands. It was just such a gift from God that I was able to be a part of such an amazing cast and such a fun show.
Yeah, I do hear that a lot, especially when Chris Sabat and Justin Cook are involved. It definitely becomes a real, like a second family and a lot of fun.
Absolutely, and I have so much to thank Justin for, because he gave me my first chance. I remember as I walked into the booth, I was so nervous, but I read for several characters, and Koenma was actually the last character that I read for, and Justin's really his main direction was, just give me what voice you hear in your head. And, I'm looking at this, this basically this voice of this baby who's hundreds of years old. What would that sound like? And I just gave it my best shot because, in high school I had done a play called You Can't Take It With You. And I played the role of the grandfather. And I just kind of channeled that voice, and I gave it to him, and I could see his eyes kind of light up. And he said, "Wow, that kind of sounds like Smee from Peter Pan. I like it." And I was just so excited, But of course, he had to reference the one character I had not seen or could remember, in forever. Gosh, it must have been 15, 20 years. I was just a little kid when I saw Peter Pan, and I'm like, great. He goes, well, why don't you give it to me again? I'm just thinking, oh man, I was so nervous. I didn't even know what I had just done, So I just winged it, and it's just so funny because just when he said that, I thought, wow, I got him. I've got his interest. This is great. But he later on during the recording of Korner, there wasn't really a day that went by for those first few weeks that I didn't feel like I was about to get fired. I thought, gosh, they're going to find me out. They're going to say, gosh, this guy has just no talent. What we got him for? And I was really nervous. Again, because I had not done anything like this before. And I used to joke around. I'd say things like, hey, I'm a writer. I have to write my own stuff. I'd say that in response to saying something that was completely not on the page. And one time he took me seriously. He said, "So you're a writer, huh?" And I said, "Yeah, which I am." And he said, "Well, they're looking for writers, in the writing department. I'll introduce you to the head writer, John Bergmeyer." And he did. And John said, "Hey, give me a sample." Well, I had just finished a screenplay that I was going to enter in a series on Showtime called Project Greenlight. Do you remember this? It was back in maybe 2000.
Sounds familiar.
It was a show by Matt Damon and Ben Affleck. To cultivate new unknown talent. And anyway, I didn't make the deadline, but I had the script, sent it to John, and he emailed me back in a few hours. He said, "This is the most disturbing, twisted, insane work I've ever read. I think you'll fit into the writing department just fine."
So you kind of landed both of the things you do at Funimation by accident.
Right, absolutely, and through the grace of Yu Yu Hakusho, through the luck and the timing, and like I said, just God. I couldn't believe it. My whole world changed. What felt like overnight.
And would you say that after the first time it got easier, or was it still just as difficult?
You mean the auditioning process?
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I never, even to this day, 10 years later, I've got some pretty good characters under my belt. Kachiro, Samurai 7, Thor on Josei, and of course Koenma and Oob on Dragon Ball Z. And, I've done this before now, but every time I go in for an audition, it feels like the very first time. Because you always want to give your best, and being an actor is just in your blood. You want to perform. You want to do your best. It sounds trite, but it's true. You're only as good as your last performance. And I just feel like a very heavy responsibility to do my best and give the fans a performance that is worthy of their time and the money that they spend on our product. So. It is a white knuckle ride every time.
Definitely, but I gotta say, going to a couple conventions these past few months myself, when you look at all the fans' reactions, it definitely pays off.
Oh yes, wouldn't trade it. I mean, that's the secret. I do it for free. It is such a payoff. It's the most wonderful thing. This is the only thing I'm good at. I'm good at writing and I'm good at acting. I was never picked for the football team. I couldn't fix a car to save my life. I just don't fit into anywhere. I feel like I don't fit anywhere in this world except in front of a microphone or a camera or typing on my keyboard. I mean, it just that's where I feel like everything's completely in sync, and I absolutely crave it, need it. So I feel very blessed to be able to make a living as an actor.
Well, I'm right there with you. If I wasn't doing the whole radio business with 918 The Fan, I'm not sure what I would be doing.
Right. Yeah, there's just some callings, and it's great. It's a blessing because when you can get up and you're like excited because you would be doing what you're doing for free, it's just such a gift.
Definitely. And have you ever been to, excuse me, any conventions yourself?
Yes, I think I've attended 3 conventions. And I wish, I wish I could attend more. I have always put myself out there. I use this interview as a calling card even. I am here. I've begged Funimation to send me on to conventions, and it's just luck of the draw. And then the fans want who they want. So there's no I have no hard feelings, but I absolutely love the convention circuit because that's the one time you can really get out and see and talk to the people that have appreciated and supported what you've done. So I unfortunately I've only been invited to 3, but boy, it was wonderful.
Well, it definitely seems that the guests roll with the times, and I know we talked to Justin a few weeks ago, and he said that Blu-rays for Yu Yu Hakusho were coming out, so hopefully you'll be able to use that as a springboard to get out to more conventions.
Yeah, that's awesome. That is, I did not know that. That's great. Korner on Blu-ray, that's awesome.
Definitely. But for everybody out there, we're going to take a short commercial break, but don't go anywhere, because when we come back, me and Sean will still be here. So keep it tuned to your favorite station, 91.8 The Fan. Everything you want, nothing you don't.
This is a public service announcement. It has recently come to our attention that not wearing shirts causes Sassenach cancer, double herpes, and super diabetes. To prevent these made-up illnesses, 918 The Fan is distributing protective clothing specifically designed to protect you from hazardous materials through a patented process that we won't explain because you'll probably just be too stupid to understand this totally not fake or made-up science. To get your protective garments, simply head over to 918thefan.com and click on the apparel button under store. Remember, only 918 The Fan's protective shirts are 100% effective in protecting you from the radiation given off by death crystals and dysentery lasers. Don't settle for cheap imitations. It could cost you your life.
Hey everybody out there, welcome back to 918 The Fan. I'm still here, and I still have my special guest with me. That's your cue, Sean.
Oh, yes, I'm here. I'm alive.
There he is. I was nervous there because we have come back from breaks and we go, oh, we didn't scare off our special guest. And then we get click, beep, beep, beep. But no, have you been working on anything particularly noteworthy recently that you are allowed to talk about? We don't want to get you in trouble with any non-disclosure agreements.
Yes, thank you. I've been working on some screenplays and a novel. I can't go into too much detail yet because I don't have them sold, but one thing I have done recently, which is a pet project of mine, is launch a website called sequelcentral.net. And it is basically a site for news and eventually an encyclopedia for all franchises, sequels, prequels, reboots, remakes. That's what I grew up on. That's my passion. That's what led me down this path to become an actor, was my love for movies. I still remember my mom taking me and my sister to see Star Wars, and just blew my mind. This is the original Star Wars, and since then I've just been. I was raised on franchises like Star Wars, Indiana Jones, Superman, Batman, things like that. So I just have a crazy appetite for all things franchises, and so I said, hey, I'm going to launch a website and see if people want to know as much as I do about the upcoming news, what's coming down the pipe and that kind of stuff.
Well, you certainly seem to be in luck because Hollywood's latest trend seems to be sequels and 3D reboots.
Yes, it is. It's a weird thing because, like I said, I grew up on what I consider to be, and I guess every generation would say this about their movies, but, I felt like I was lucky enough to grow up at a time when these franchises, yes, they were sequels and all this stuff, but they were really coming from a place of just a deep well of creativity. I mean, how could you beat, Spielberg on top of his game and Lucas on top of his game and Richard Donner and people like that. And, I think today Hollywood's, we're still making some really good movies, but they're still, it's like we're still riding the wave of all of that wonderful creativity from, I guess, the late 70s and 80s and maybe early 90s, so sequels have kind of gotten a bad name. But there's still some. I just think it's an amazing story process to actually take a character, like Rocky Balboa, and all jokes aside, actually be able to follow this character through chapters of his life. I mean, you can only get that through good sequels, So I think they have their place.
Absolutely, and you definitely see that with a lot of well-written sequels, and it takes a really good writer and director to help emulate the success that the original had.
Right, exactly. And you can't fit everything into one movie anyway. In fact, I just heard that Mark Wahlberg is talking about doing a second Fighter, which I think is a really brave thing to do because he would be compared to Rocky at that point, I think. But like they said, this guy, the real guy, fought 3 fights, and they want to show those. You can't do all that in one film, and that's the wonderful thing about a continuing saga. And I just, man, like I said, there's nothing. I don't think. I don't know. I guess, like I said, I was just blown away by Star Wars, and how could I not like franchises after Indy and Han Solo and things like that?
Of course, you've got a big passion for seeing a story pan out, which is a really big thing with the whole episodic feel of anime, too.
Right, exactly. Yes, that's what I love about anime. It has that saga, and such rich, deep characters. I mean, I think anime is right now the top form of storytelling, visual storytelling. It's amazing.
Definitely. And would you say that you enjoy the originals better, or would you rather go watch the sequel?
That's a good question. It is the original. I'm going to go back to Star Wars for a moment.
Sure.
It is the original that starts everything off. It's the original that is the seed from which everything grows. But at the same time, Empire Strikes Back, in my opinion, is a far better film than Star Wars, and I've heard that echoed through a lot of our people and a lot of fans who agree with me, and it's just it's funny, it takes the original to get the ball rolling, but then sometimes it can really surprise you, like Aliens. Is Aliens better than Alien? I don't know. I mean, Alien is one of the scariest movies I've ever seen. I can't only imagine what it would have been like to see that in the theater, but when my parents took me to see Aliens, which was my first, my second horror film, but I guess if you can consider Aliens horror, I certainly did when the face hugger jumped out and I spilled my popcorn. But Aliens is amazing. It's an amazing sequel. I mean, it opened up the world so much, and same thing with Star Trek II, for example. Wrath of Khan just blew the motion picture out of the water. So I think in many cases I actually come to love the sequel more than the original.
Definitely, and it really is a testament to how they can build upon the original source material.
Yes, absolutely. It's funny. I always wanted a sequel series to Samurai 7 because I thought, wow, I want to. I know that sounds self-serving, but I just wanted to learn more about Koichiro, and his world and what would happen after that. And I don't know if it's ever going to happen, but I just think it would be amazing. And again, it's just growing, organically from that original seed, and it's just, I don't know, it's just a great story convention.
Definitely. I have that feeling with a bunch of series. There are some, like Dragon Ball Z or Yu Yu Hakusho, where they give you that really nice, fulfilling ending, but with certain series, and you often see it in the shorter 26, 24 episode series, but you always thinking to yourself, I wonder what would have happened if they continued.
Right. Absolutely. It's sometimes you can just go mad, if they go out some of your favorite characters and your show's like, oh, but they could have gone here, they could have gone there, why didn't they do this, why didn't they do that? But, sometimes we're lucky and we get that, and then sometimes we don't. But, again, when we do, it just lengthens that ride, it just adds layer upon layer upon layer, and that is the heart, and that is the greatness of a franchise, of continuing a story. But at the same time, if we did that with everything, it would dilute the the power of that. One could argue, hey, do we really need 11 Jason films, or whatever, and yeah, there's definitely some sequels, be it, and it doesn't matter what form it is, books, anime, live action film. That we know are made just for the quick buck. But I will say this: I say that to be fair. I've never seen that in anime. In the anime that I've watched, it just always seems to come from a point of or a place of creativity. So I just think that's why I just think anime right now, and it has been since I've been involved and really looked into it and embraced it. Anime just seems to be a very pure place for storytelling.
Absolutely, and that's why we have our site to help people learn more about the new anime stuff, and you have Sequel Central to help everybody learn about the new movies.
Yes, and I tell you, I want to give a shout-out again to that because, I've just started. I think I've got, I pulled in as many friends as I can. I've got, 19 followers right now. And I'm really trying to attract people because if I can attract enough people to the site, then I can start looking at getting advertising and doing the things that I really want to do with the site. Like I said, start an encyclopedia where people can go and basically, hey, I want to know, how many American Pie movies there are, and click on it and discover that. And so I really would like to give a shout out if anybody is so inclined to hop on over to sequelcentral.net and just follow the RSS feed or click on the Like It Facebook page. I'm still, like I said, working on all of this. It's just in its infancy right now, but good things are to come.
Well, I know I will definitely be checking it out, and when we post this interview on our site, I will definitely be sure to include a link to that, so you will not go unnoticed.
Thank you. But yeah, we talked about Korner earlier. I tell you, I don't think I've ever had more fun than voicing Korner. He's just so cantankerous, and just every time he'd yell at Yusuke, or whatever. It was great. It was like Justin used to say he was part Hannibal from the A-Team and part Charlie from Charlie's Angels. So it was oftentimes I would start the sessions, lean over to the microphone and going, "Good morning, Angels." Just something goofy, just to start the session, and it was just I don't know, just so much fun. How often do you get to voice a character that's a, extremely geriatric baby, basically?
It certainly is a very unique role, even in the world of anime.
Yes.
But we are nearing the end of our time, but before we let you go, we would like to ask you if you would be willing to participate in a 91.8 The Fan tradition.
Absolutely.
Awesome. We ask everyone who comes on the show if they would be willing to do a radio bump for us.
Sure. Sounds great.
All right, we just ask everybody to say the line, "My name is," you insert your name, "I do this," you can insert a specific character or just general voice acting or writing, and then you're tuned into 91.8 The Fan.
Nice. 98.1 The Fan. Cool.
91.8.
I'm sorry, 91.8.
So whenever you're ready.
You ready? Okay, cool. Let's do it. This is Sean Michael Teague, voice actor, writer, voice of Korner on Yu Yu Hakusho, and I am a fan of 91.8.
All right. Very nice. So, with that wonderful tradition out of the way, I will let all of you fans get back to the music, but make sure that if you missed any of this interview, and shame on you if you did, that you make sure to check it out on our site in the next few days, because it will be there. And in the meantime, keep it tuned to your favorite station, 91.8 The Fan. Everything you want and nothing you don't.